Am I the a-hole for telling my 19F daughter she will have to move out of my house if I get divorced because of her lies after her stepdad saw her naked? Throwaway account due to the situation, but I need to know because I'm getting calls and texts from family calling me an a-hole for not being on my daughter's side. My husband and I have been married for a little over 5 years now. I will say my daughter 19F and he has an okay relationship. Not exactly father and daughter, but almost advice asked and given relationship basically. I have never picked up on anything weird from my husband towards my daughter, and my daughter has never said or insinuated anything at all as well. On Thursday, me and my husband was watching a movie in the living room. We paused the movie as he got up to use the bathroom. I heard him knocking on the door twice. Literally 3 knocks each time on the door a couple of seconds apart. It was loud enough for me to hear him knocking from the living room. The next moment I heard screaming. I rushed to the bathroom and saw my daughter completely naked covering herself and yelling at my husband to get out. I didn't see everything that happened, but what I saw after I heard yelling was my husband literally fell over his own feet and struggling to get the bathroom door closed. I asked my husband what happened and he said he knocked, nobody answered, so he went in and my daughter was naked in front of the mirror and he tried to get out. After my daughter calmed down, I asked her side of what happened and she said she was changing and all of a sudden my husband walked into the bathroom. I asked her why she didn't answer him when he knocked. She said he didn't. I told her I heard him knock, so I am sure that he did. She said she didn't hear it because she had her earpods and listening to music. We got the situation sorted, and my husband did apologize to her and explained he thought the bathroom was empty and walked in. She even gave him a hug and apologized for yelling at him. The problem now is my daughter got family members involved, and they are now calling my husband a creep. Got a call from my sister berating me for still having my husband in the house. I asked what she meant, and I came out that my daughter spun a whole other story and left out the fact that she was listening to music with her earpods and is telling everyone that she answered him, and he still walked into the bathroom to look at her. We have cameras in our hallway, and it proves that my husband did knock, as you can see it on the video, but the cameras have no audio. I sat my daughter down and asked her, and she denied saying anything like that or that she told anyone anything. I got mad and asked then, how does your aunt know what happened? And she went silent. She said she talked to her cousin about it and she must have told her mother. I asked her why did she lie about what happened and made my husband look bad when he did nothing wrong. She again denied lying about anything, and I told her what my sister told me. She just started to cry and say sorry. She was just talking and making up scenarios with her cousin. The whole day yesterday I got calls and texts from my family members as the story spread. The wrong story is spreading and my husband is looking like a creep to everyone. I sat my daughter down again and had her read some of the things being said about my husband and told her she has to fix this because her lying is what caused this. She refused, saying she didn't spread this and she only told her cousin and doesn't want to say anything to anyone because they will think bad about her. She said they know my husband and this will just blow over. Everything did blow up when my husband walked into the living room with his bags packed and said he is going to stay with his parents for a while because he doesn't want to be in this situation anymore where he is made out to be this kind of person. My daughter broke down and apologized repeatedly and said she will fix it, but my husband still left. I told her if I get divorced because of her lies, she will be moving out of my house. I told her she better fix what she did and tell everyone what really happened because I will not be losing a man that loves and actually cares for me like my husband does over lies. She asked me to help her, and I told her no, she isn't a child anymore and her lies for attention did this. This is on her. I already tried, and I'm now also being accused of taking my husband's side and not providing a safe space for my daughter. I don't know what to do. My husband asked for space and my daughter is inconsolable at the moment. I am not in the best state myself. Sorry if my post is all over the place. I don't even know if my title is correct on this post. I have reread and it still doesn't make sense to me. AITAH has no consensus bot. OOP received mixed reactions. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. This looks like a setup because the daughter knows that she does not live alone, and yet she did not lock the door to the bathroom while listening to music on her headphones. What's more, you have camera footage of him knocking and waiting. If you truly love your husband, continue to be by his side. OOP. I am on his side completely and fully. I don't want to lose him. My family is just making it difficult because we are very close, and every time I try to explain what really happened I am just called an a-hole and making excuses. Whereas OOP's ex-husband, the daughter's father. OOP. Excuse me, this is my first marriage. My daughter's father ran the day he found out I was pregnant, and I raised my daughter alone with help from my family until my husband came into my life. OOP responds on why and how she has cameras inside the house and their setups. OOP. Camera is in my hallway, and you can see all the doors to every room from the camera. It's pointed down the hall, not at any door specifically. You don't? Isn't that normal? We have cameras around the house and inside pointing at the 2 entrances, and then one pointing down the hallway that shows every door. My husband sometimes works away from home, and if I get woken up throughout the night, I check the cameras if I hear anything. I'm not just going to run out of my room to check the house. I check the cameras first to see if someone is in my house. Who just goes out into possible danger without knowing what is there? I feel like this is normal. Because my husband works away sometimes, so we have 3 cameras inside the house, 1 each watching the front and back door and 1 pointing down the hallway. You can see each door on the camera in the hallway. If I hear something at night, especially if my husband isn't home, I have a look at the cameras, outside ones and inside ones. I don't know if someone is in the house already, and I'm not just going to run outside to check the house. Commenter 2, you could very easily lose your husband, and I wouldn't blame him. Does he do things for your daughter, such as errands, favors, financial support? If so, that's a heck of a way for him to be treated. OOP. All of it. My husband is the one that gave the majority of the money for her car, and he is also covering her college tuition. Unfortunately, my work doesn't pay that much. He makes the majority of the income of the household. OOP is accused of picking her husband over her daughter. OOP, so I should choose my daughter who lied for attention or some reason, don't really know why she lied, especially over something like this, over a man that has done nothing but love me and cared for us both without asking anything in return. I will sound selfish now, I know that, but I don't care. My husband comes first now. My marriage comes first. Trying to fix what she broke comes first, not her. Especially since she refuses to help fix what she broke. Actions have consequences, and again, I will be called a bad mother, but she is going to learn this lesson the hard way. Update. 8 days later. Sorry for only updating now, but I'm not in the best of places at the moment, and it has taken me a couple of days to get my thoughts together. I don't know what to do anymore. My husband has asked for a divorce. First, let me answer a couple of questions I saw coming up repeatedly. We have locks on every door in the house. I don't know why my daughter didn't use the lock on the door. The cameras inside the house aren't pointed at any door except for the ones pointed at the front door and back door. The other camera is at the end of the hall, and you can see every door in the hallway from that camera. We have a bathroom in our room, but we can't use it at the moment. The water is completely shut off due to renovation of the bathroom. My husband has asked for a divorce. On Friday, he came back home and asked to talk. During our talk, he showed me his phone, and some of the things my family members were saying about him were just outright horrible. Calling him a pedo, asking him how many times he has taken a peek before. I don't recognize any of my family anymore. I understand if he actually did something, but he hasn't, and the hatred they're showing over a stupid mistake tell me they refuse to listen, or they have hated him from the start and are now using this to try and get rid of him. He said he can't ever come back, and this has now started to affect his work life as well. He was called into HR to explain because some of my family members have called his office. Luckily, they haven't done anything and refused to do anything until a case is brought against him. They know my husband very well, and I think they believe him as well because he is still working. During our talk, he explained that he does love me and still does, and he is happy I stood up for him, but my daughter's actions have caused too many problems, accusations, and made him scared. He explained he sat at the office and at his parents' home every day just waiting for the police to show up and arrest him. He said her lies broke him and he can't see a way to come back from it. I asked him to reconsider and that maybe we can go for counseling, but he also refused, saying everything is too broken to fix. I told him that I will kick out my daughter and told him about everything I did and told my daughter to do, but he said I'm missing the point. His life could have been completely ruined because of a lie. My family will never trust him again and will always harbor hatred or suspicions about him. Especially now that my daughter wants to clear things so long afterwards, they will think we forced her to do it, and that will just make things worse. He said he will always remain the creep in their eyes. I asked him what if I cut off my family and we moved away because I was already working on that. I showed him my phone and the messages I have sent every single person so far that refuses to listen and that I blocked them. He asked what about my daughter. I told him again I will be kicking her out and she will be staying with my parents from now on. He asked if we moved away will I abandon my daughter then, because he doesn't want to be near her or be alone with her at all. I didn't know what to say about that. Before I could answer, he said again it's better for us to get divorced. He said I will never ask you to abandon your daughter. I will never expect you to do something like that, but I don't want her anywhere near me. If you abandon your daughter, I don't know if I could ever look at you the same afterwards, even if it was for my sake. The only solution here is for us to get divorced. My daughter came running down the hallway into the living room, crying. I think she was listening to our conversation. Before she could get a word out, my husband jumped up from the couch and put his hands out and asked her not to get near him. He said, "Before you say anything, I will start to record the conversation now," and took out his phone. I think I saw something break in my daughter's eyes at that moment, and the realization of everything hit her all at once. She asked my husband to forgive her and said she never meant for things to get so out of hand. She was just making up scenarios with her cousin, and her cousin was the one that ran with it. My husband asked her why didn't she clear it up immediately then. She said she didn't think it would go this far and thought it would just blow over because everyone knows him. He showed her his phone and asked her to read some of the messages, and my daughter went completely silent. We talked for about 4 hours. At the end, my husband said he will give us 3 months to move out of the house because it is his house. My daughter can keep the car because it was a gift, and that he will finish paying this year's tuition but will not pay anything going forward. He said he hasn't gotten a lawyer yet, but told me to get one. He would like to do this without a lawyer, but if I want one, I can get one. He said he will be fair in the divorce and doesn't harbor anything against me, but he can't stay in the relationship. My daughter was just sitting on the floor looking like a ghost, and I couldn't say anything listening to him talk about divorce and what will be split and what not, like it was nothing. He was talking like the last 5 years was nothing and it was just easy to move on. The best way to describe it was like he was returning something to a store. He left the house and I just sat on the couch. I don't know if I was crying, talking, or what. I can't remember much as everything was muffled around me until my daughter started full-on crying, saying sorry, sorry, sorry over and over again, laying on the floor. I don't know how long I sat on the couch, but when I got up I saw my husband's car still in the driveway. I looked out of the window and I could see him full-on crying in the car. Seeing that completely broke me. My daughter and I haven't talked since my husband was here Friday, not a word to each other. My family members have showed up to the house to apologize because apparently my daughter has all of a sudden now cleared everything up, and she herself shared the video from the camera with the family members. Every time they show up, I just close the door in their faces. I have gotten Facebook, Instagram, calls, and text from them, and when I block them, they keep making new accounts and use different numbers. I don't want to lose my husband. I really don't. This is the first man I have ever met that has actually treated me with kindness, respect, and love, and now it's all over. I have tried to talk to him and tried to convince him to go to counseling with me, but every time I have tried he sends back I can't take the risk. I have tried to meet him in person, but he just says it won't be a good idea. I have gone over to his parents' house, but they refuse to let me see him. I have gone to his work to talk to him, but I was told he was sent home by his boss. I truly don't know how to fix this. Having my daughter move out now won't work because I need to be out of the house as well. I don't want anything from my husband. I just want him. I haven't talked to a lawyer yet, but I don't think I can keep the house. He owned it before we moved into the house. I really want to fix this. I still want to kick my daughter out of the house, but will he still give me a chance to fix it even after what my husband said about me abandoning my daughter and not seeing me the same afterwards? I don't know anyone. Am I really going to lose a wonderful man? Edit. I forgot how Reddit fixates on one thing. The comment about the house I made. I have no intentions of trying to take his house or anything like that. It's not my house. I had questions in my previous post about the house, and I think I just answered them. I'm not going to try and take his house. He owns it and has owned it since before we got together. I have no right to the house and will not try to take the house. I hope this clears it up. Relevant comments. OOP clarifies up on who her daughter talked to regarding the scenarios. OOP, my daughter talked to her cousin. My sister's daughter. Sorry for the mistake or confusion, not in the right headspace the last week. Editor's note. OOP mentioned daughter's niece in the original post. Why didn't OOP's husband get out from the bathroom right away? OOP, when I got up after my daughter started screaming, it took me 2 steps, then I could see into the hallway. What I saw was him backing up and fumbling and grabbing at the door to close it. Commenter 1, I want to know the reaction of the cousin and aunt who ran with it. OOP, they are completely silent and refuses to answer calls, text, or even open the door when I went to their house. Commenter 2, it's over. Your daughter and your family almost destroyed his life. From his perspective, he's probably feeling somewhat grateful that she only destroyed his marriage. Listen, they phoned his work and leveled accusations. He got pulled into HR. He was sitting at his parents' house waiting to be arrested. That is hugely traumatizing. And now you phone him, show up at his parents' house, show up at his work. Sis, stop. It's over. Commenter 3, quite simply, you can't fix this. What your daughter did is absolutely horrendous. She has very much ruined your soon-to-be ex-husband's reputation and your relationship with one lie. Stop visiting him at work. Stop trying to contact him. Just stop. As hard as this is for you, it's harder for him. The more you reach out violating his boundaries, the more likely he will build resentment. If you are unable to respect his wishes over contacting him, it's no wonder why your daughter has boundary issues. Focus on rebuilding yours and your daughter's lives fresh without him. Get therapy for your daughter so she learns to be better. Right now, she's a dumpster fire. It sounds like he is going to be very kind to you in the divorce. Commenter 4, give him all he asked for. He's being gracious enough to not press charges against your stupid daughter, so let him have his life back. Commenter 5, your daughter needs to take responsibility for the entire thing. She is 19, therefore an adult. Falsely accusing a man, in this day and age, of SA/or pedo or whatever is a life ender. Your family helped see to that as well. Meaning that whether it was the cousin or your daughter, they decided to put it on blast. That is on you all to get your daughter and cousin to admit it to the family. It is safest for him to leave you guys.